Hey everyone, it's Christine with Indigo Healing, and I have the weekly general twin flame reading for you for, I'm going to start it from today, which is February 23rd, and it's going to go through March 3rd. Yesterday I uploaded, it was like a general energy reading that was a different reading than what I normally do, different from this reading. This is kind of like, it's like a general energy reading of like what's playing out in the week ahead, or kind of depending on when you're watching this, what's coming up. And the one that I uploaded yesterday was more like the energies of what's going on with the person, like more of like an internal, more of a glimpse, I think, into the personal struggles, maybe the emotions, kind of things like that. And you know, again, I feel like it's applicable for whenever you watch it. So, you know, this one is the typical layout that, if you've been watching me for a while, this is what you're familiar with. The readings that I do, I was kind of excited when I was pulling out the cards, because there were some repeats from my reading yesterday. So I am excited to talk about those with you. So I'm gonna just get started with the reading. But before I do, if you like this reading, if this reading resonates with you, please hit the like button right below this video, hit the subscribe button. Please share this video, leave me a comment below. I would love to hear what you think. I like to hear the feedback, and you know, all of my information on how you can get a hold of me to get your own personal reading, it will be in the description box below, so you can check that out. So let's see, I'm gonna take a drink before I get started. That's like a little fun fact about me. I am a little bit of, I wouldn't say a coffee addict, but I do love coffee. And so this is my afternoon cup of coffee. I can get by with just, you know, doing like 1 cup or like a half a cup a day, but sometimes, you know, I mentioned in my video yesterday, the weather has been just yucky this whole week. You know, warm and then cold, and today it's still kind of cold-ish, rainy, yucky day. And so days like this, I like to have my afternoon coffee. So that's what's in the mug, if you're wondering. That's my vice, is my coffee. So I don't know why, before I start my reading, I look at the spread, and it's like I'm making a decision on where I'm going to start. I always know I'm going to start with the feminine. I don't know why I do that. So the first card for the feminine that comes up is trust. And you know, this card reminds me a lot of what I was sensing as the energy for the feminine in that reading I uploaded yesterday. You know, a lot of you are in this place where you just aren't sure. And I feel like a lot of fears are creeping in, if they're not already there. And you really need to, I don't necessarily feel like this is a card of taking a leap. and necessarily doing anything, but this is a card of, you need to trust, you need to have faith, and just, believe that there is that what is meant for you is going to come for you, that the universe really does have your best interest. And if things are not looking the way you want them to, or if there are certain things that you desire, just trusting that whatever the universe is bringing you is so much better than anything that you could ever imagine. And the clarifying card that came up here is release. And so this is telling me right away, part of that, the trust, you need to let go of the fears that are holding you back. You've got things somewhere, you're stuck somewhere, you're in fear somewhere, and that is holding you back. And I think that once you can really move out of those fears, you will be able to move forward the way you want to. So this was the first card that I was like this gave me chills. Like, I was shaking. The cards that came up for the masculine, we have choose your battles, and then we have awaiting results. This is the first card that I pulled in the reading that I did yesterday. This was the first card that came out for the masculine as well. And so for me, this is just like a confirmation for what I was saying, in terms of that there's something that they are waiting on. It's like there's something that they feel that they should have had, or they should have gotten or seen by now, and they're getting impatient, they're frustrated. And this choose your battles card, I feel like it's like there's two things I'm seeing. One, like, I feel like this is like a battle within themselves. Like, they feel like they're not good enough, they're failing, and they're like, it's like an inner battle within themselves. But then I feel like it's a struggle externally of not placing blame in places that maybe it doesn't deserve to be placed. I hope that makes sense. And both of these cards are sevens, so this is part of their path. This is part of their soul path. And so funny. So 3 cards came out for the clarifying cards, another 7 of earth. And this is all about that they have put in the hard work and they've planted the seeds, and they just need to be patient to see what comes of it. And I feel like they're like sick of being patient. Like they want what they want, and they want to see it. This is like, okay, but you planted the seeds, and now you need to let them grow and bloom and see what comes of them. And this card, the 7 of earth, it's they're unnecessarily concerned about this. Like, everything's going to be fine. And sure enough, then we have the Ace of Fire, which this card also came out in what they weren't seeing. New opportunities are coming in, and I feel like whatever it is that they've been waiting on, things are going to change. They're going to start seeing what it is that they've been wanting. And I feel like part of this has to do with they have been wanting to change their life in some way, and they haven't been able to see how, and I feel like they are going to, it's going to come to them. They're going to see how. And then we have the Eight of Fire, things moving quickly. So I feel like it's going to be kind of like all of a sudden it's going to come together, and it's going to come to them, and they're going to see what it is that they're missing. And you know, maybe what it is that they need to do. Now, will they do it? That's another thing. But I feel like what it is that they've been waiting on will become clearer. There will be some resolution to that. The next card that comes up for the feminine is listen. And I distinctly was getting the message with this that you are going to be, you know, in terms of the quest for your dreams and your happiness and your happily ever after, because the clarifying cards are the Nine of Water and the Ten of Water. The answers for how to get there, you know, the how, the who, the where, the what, the all, everything that you're looking for, you need to be tuned in. You need to listen. Quiet time, meditation, pay attention to signs, like however your intuition speaks to you, whatever that looks like, because it's, you know, it's different for everyone. Pay attention to that, because that's how you are going to be given the clues to get to your happily ever after. You know, and I feel like that's something you need to work on, tuning in to that listening to that inner voice, listen to spirit. The next card for the masculine, which I feel like this is a little bit of, you know, like you guys being in a similar place here. The card that came up here is Just Breathe. And what I'm getting with this is a place where the divine masculine is going to be really doing some inner work and self-reflection. You know, to me, this card is reminding me of someone who's looking inside, looking within themselves. And the cards that came up here, we have the Sun, and this is, you know, about your happy outcome, sometimes marriage. You know, this is, you know, a card of success. You know, this in some instances, I mean, I wouldn't always call it this, but this could potentially be like a happily ever after card for some people, because it's that happy outcome, the success, you know. And then we have the Queen of Water, and this is a card that is highly intuitive, very nurturing, very loving. And I'm getting that, you know, he's going inward to for similar types of reasons. He may not realize it, but, you know, kind of to figure out, like, how does he get his happily ever after? How does he get the life that he's been desiring for? You know, he needs to trust what he's reflecting on. He needs to trust his intuition. You know, there's some reflection on, like, what relationships is he wanting to develop to a higher level. So it's interesting because, you know, I feel like you're in very similar places with this. the next card that comes up for the feminine is find balance. And you're going to be, the cards that are coming up for you as clarifiers are the Ten of Air, which is, the end of a difficult situation and being, moving on from something that's been very difficult for you. It's changing, expect it to get better. And then the Eight of Water, which is moving on from something. And I feel like, if you're going from that, you're listening to your intuition about how do I get my happily ever after, but then I feel like these are the Eight of Water and the Ten of Air, these thoughts of, do I just move on from this? Do I go in another direction? Do I, so this find balance is coming into a place where you can be at peace with both of those things, and not being one extreme or the other, but balancing the Eight of Water with the Ten of Water, being in a place where you just can be accepting of the connection where it's at, and having a hard time articulating like the feelings that are coming in. But I feel like this is, just really trying to keep your don't like, I'm feeling like many of you are going to be at a point, maybe you're already at a point where you're so done. Like, you're just so done with all of this. But you still feel drawn to your divine masculine, and you want, you still have very strong feelings. And so, I'm just feeling like you're gonna be really seeking to find a way to come to a place that's in between those 2 points. And I think that how you do that is going to look different for everyone. I think some of you will go the Eight of Water route and say, I'm done. Some of you will go more of the obsessive route and focus, Ten of Water, Ten of Water, Ten of Water, when you really need to focus more on yourself. And then some of you will work on that, balancing the two, and integrating that with working on yourself and coming from your heart with everyone, and really balancing it in all aspects of your life. I hope that made sense, because sometimes when they say things to me and give me things, it doesn't always make sense. So the next card that comes up on the masculine side are both cards that came up in the reading that I did yesterday. We have Flow, and this is, I believe that I got this card in my traditional Rider-Waite deck that I use, and it was the wheel, but this is the wheel in this deck, Flow, and this is about, things starting to move forward, positive changes, and just kind of going along with it and seeing where things take you. And then we have Manifest, which this was the card that popped out at the beginning of the reading before I pulled for anything. And I feel like, you know, this is the Divine Masculine realizing like, hey, like I have some power here to, you know, create the life that I want. You know, I can bring forth some of the change and some of the things that I want in my life. Now, what's interesting is that I feel like, again, the masculine are going to be in a similar place to the feminine, because the card that they have here is the Four of Water, and the Four of Water is kind of like missing an opportunity, or maybe feeling like they offered, you know, they made an offer to somebody and it was rejected. And so for some, you know, maybe it's that, you know, they're getting that Eight of Water energy from the feminine, that moving on, and they're feeling kind of rejected, or like that they've missed out on an opportunity. I don't think that's going to deter all of them, because we have the Strength card. And so, you know, I feel like this is, you know, they're gonna be like, okay, let's try again. You know, I feel like they're going to, you know, maybe lick their wounds for a second and then, you know, try again. And I'm feeling like in places where maybe they would have had like a really combative attitude when they maybe felt rejected, I feel like they may have a little bit of a softer, more compassionate approach, which I think is going to bring about, this place of the Two of Fire energy, where it's this place where you have the opportunity for new partnerships and being able to move forward. Which again is that energy of the wheel, being able to move forward. And you know, this card, this balance card, this Fine Balance card, this card, it's shaped like a wheel. And so again, like I feel like with the feminine, I'm feeling like there's this, like I'm just kind of getting this really strong feeling of don't stay in that Eight of Water energy, like that it's really going to be important to balance it out and be in a different place in that, because I do feel like there's going to be movement and opportunity, but not if you're out of balance. Like if you're not balanced, if you're out of whack, if you're too far in a negative energy, that's not going to happen. And I don't even want to say I shouldn't say negative energy. If you really are in an Eight of Air or an Eight of Water energy where you're just done and you want to move on and you really feel strongly and you feel like that's the right thing for you, then by all means, like, do that. You know, that for some people is what, you know, if that's what you feel called to do, then do that. This, I think, is kind of coming out for those who are not feeling called as strongly to do that, if that makes sense. So the crowning energy that both the Divine Masculine and Feminine are coming into is strengthening bonds and take the lead. And so I do feel like there's going to be some new effort put forth in this connection. For those that this reading is going to apply to, there's going to be some new effort put forth. And you know, it may not be so much into the actual relationship, but it might be an effort into the connection and strengthening the connection, like the spiritual aspect of it. But we have the strengthening bonds. And so I do feel like there is going to be an effort and some work and some emphasis placed on that aspect as well. I pulled some clarifying cards from the Romance Angels deck here. I just felt called to. And the card that came out here is Wedding. I don't feel like anybody's specifically getting married. You know, for some of you, this situation does involve a marriage. What I'm really feeling called to say here, though, is that for those of you that this reading is resonating with, this is a divine marriage. Like, you're already like divinely connected. This is like a divine marriage, that this is already a thing. Which just feels like, I don't know why I'm saying that. Like I said, I don't think that this is like, oh, people are getting married this week. You know me. But for some of you, you might be married to somebody else. They might be married to somebody else as well. The other card is trust. And so, you know, you both are needing to trust. You both need to have faith that things are working out exactly the way that they are meant to. You need to have the faith. The next card I pulled is the Empress, and this is a very, very feminine card, a card of sensuality, and this is telling me, you know, that there is an ability here for you both to give birth to your dreams, and that it's really important that, you know, that you both work to, you know, nurture each other, but you really need to nurture yourselves too. You know, you can't forget yourselves. And the last card I pulled here as a clarifier is the Five of Earth, and I feel like things that, you know, it might come up, like this might be something that is shared with each other, but if you feel like you are having a hard time, or if your partner's having a hard time having faith, they're afraid of being left out in the cold. They're afraid that it's not going to work out for them. They're worried, you know, they've been hurt in the past, and they feel like they're going to be left behind. That's what I'm getting there. The grounding energy is helpless and hopeless. And what I'm getting with this card is that you both are kind of just like stuck and not making choices that you need to make, because you're like, oh, I don't know which way to go, but you know, because you think like one way might be better than the other, it might be, you know, lead to something better. When you look at this card, though, it's exactly the same. Each thing looks exactly the same. And the clarifying cards here, we have the Seven of Water, which is the need to make a decision, you know, and it acknowledges that this is not an easy decision. It is a complex decision, but either way, we have the King of Earth. Either way you go, whatever choice you make, whatever decisions you make, they will lead you to success. You just have to go. Like, you just have to do it. The underlying energy for the feminine is healing begins. And so, you know, it makes me laugh a little bit, because I feel like, you know, healing has been ongoing for the feminine for a very, very long time. You know, but I think that, you know, with a lot of the energy that has been experienced over the last month, you know, you're hitting another level of healing. And the clarifying cards here, we have the Two of Air, the need to make a decision. What decision are you struggling with? What are you not choosing? What problem are you pretending isn't there? Making a choice, making a decision, choosing is going to, Six of Fire is going to bring you victory, going to bring you good news. You know, and I believe will assist you with your healing. For the masculine, and I really do feel this, especially with this awaiting results, the masculine has new vitality, and this card's a 1, new beginnings, and the clarifier is the Magician. So they've had the Magician twice. Well, Magician and manifestation, and then we have new vitality. A lot of 1s, they have Ace down here, a lot of new beginnings, being on their soul path, you know, and I think just, you know, if they haven't already been aware, it's coming into their awareness more that they really have so much more say in the outcome of their life and their journey than what they have previously believed. And you know, they are ready and prepared to have more of a role in the creation aspect of it versus kind of playing a victim. You know, and I feel like whatever it is that ends up working out for them, I feel like it's really going to set them into a more positive spin and literally give a new vitality to them. A surrender card that I pulled for the masculine. Surrender to the wisdom of your body. This card says, listen to your body's messages about a person or situation. If you feel physically drained or uncomfortable, be cautious. If you are energized and happy, move forward. I feel like this is something that is coming into the masculine's awareness. You know, they're realizing that there is something to it where there are people that they feel really yucky around, and then there are people that they feel much better around, and they're starting to realize that there's something to that, and they're paying attention to what their body is telling them. It goes with their intuition increasing too. For the feminine, surrender to your full power. Your life is calling for you to step into your full power rather than playing it small. And then surrender your attachment to results. The formula for success is to do all you can to make things happen. Then let go of the results. Holding on too tightly to a desired outcome can sabotage it. So, you know, this is that whole thing about, you know, believing that, you know, having a desire and believing that the universe will bring it to you, and if it's not delivered to you, that there is something so much better for you, but like releasing your attachment to it. And then the last cards I pulled here, I just asked for oracle cards to kind of wrap up the reading, and I pulled embrace your emotions. Don't push down your feelings or judge your emotions. And I was kind of blown away by this because this came up a lot in the reading that I did yesterday, because it was talking, I believe it was the throat chakra card that came up, and it was talking about, you know, being authentic and speaking your truth, and not stuffing things down, you know, and so I feel like that message is carrying forward into today's reading. And then the last card is Choose Love, which I feel like I also talked about this in yesterday's reading as well. You always have a choice as to what you should do. And so, you know, practice living from that space of being open-hearted. You know, even if you just do a little bit a day, you know, where you focus on it in a quiet, quick meditation, but work on the choosing love. You can still have boundaries and choose love. So remember that. But choose love. I think that that's a really, really important message that goes along with this reading. So I hope that this was a helpful reading for you. I hope it resonated with you. If not, don't worry. Just remember that it just wasn't the message for you. But if it did, and you're interested in getting a reading with me, please check the description box below. All of my contact information is there. If you like this reading, again, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. And until the next video, that's all I have for now. I will see you guys soon. Take care.